Please pay the invoice. We're on net 30 terms. Thank you so much, Old Spice. Hello friends, welcome back to ReddX, Trace Amounts of Science. It seems that Chlorine Beard was a little left behind in the mix, and I'd like to finish that series up. If you don't recall, he's a neckbeard who always smells like cat pee because the chlorine in the pool turns into ammonia when it comes into contact with his filth. It's a pretty interesting one, as I recall, so we'll swing right back into it. Previous 2 videos in the comments for your perusal. Let's go ahead and jump right on into this thing, shall we? Chlorine Beard Part 5, Half-Wits and Harassments. Yes, the half-wit is here to harass you. I will gladly keep diving into the memoirs of Chlorine Beard. If you want the first 2, as of me writing this, stories read to you, check out our lead researcher ReddX's video on the subject, or my account if you want to read it for yourself. I love the fact that the video is 35 minutes long. Yeah, I take my sweet time, don't I? Our new cast here will be all of our previous stories cast, plus a few new ones. We'll just read them all again. New Flyer, who is a male, 5'8" junior, who's deceptively strong while also looking like he could win a game of chicken against a brick wall. He does martial arts and his specialty is grappling. David is also a male, 5'2" senior, who is the other male captain of our team. His name is a reference to something that will become evident later. Oh, that's a good hook. I'm curious. We've also got Coach, our coach, and with our help, we convinced Miss Comp to join the team as another coach because the team did need a female coach. She basically got paid a tad bit more to just sit and do homework by the pool. Yeah, sweet gig. Not new, but the main attraction himself is Chlorine Beard, of course. Male beardo. He recently had a moment of humanity and started on a path of betterment, but that path is a long uphill trek, and he will still have his beardy tendencies show through most of the time. It's a hard thing to escape, I guess. It's our first competition of the season, and the veteran swimmers have to show the ropes of how everything works to the rookies. It was called the Big and Little system, so I had 2 littles, Nemo and Chlorine Beard. They had to stay near me, for if they missed their event or got DQ'd, disqualified, the little and the big would both have to swim a 400-meter butterfly. For those who haven't done that, you're lucky. Man, 100 meters. That's enough. They made us do it in the Navy, and by the end, I had enough. If the boat we're on gets blowed up, I'm gonna die. Anyway, what were you saying? It sucks for about 375 meters, and everything will hurt by the 75-meter mark. I don't want to do that. I don't want Nemo to do that. Chlorine Beard, though, I wouldn't mind if he did it a little bit. But eventually, we got our events, and Nemo did the first 50-meter competitively and didn't get disqualified. Chlorine Beard, on the other hand, was a much more interesting case. Chlorine Beard, "Hey, OP, I need to go to the bathroom." And he just sat there looking at me like I could make it go away. We're on land, so I hope that he didn't just piss himself while he was standing there next to me. OP says, "Well, you have 2 events to go before you're needed on deck." Chlorine Beard, "What if I could hold it in?" Are you talking about like the piss jet thing? I'm sure we've joked about that before. Is that from this story? OP just says, go. Just go. Chlorine Beard, "But that uncomfort could push me to swim faster." Yeah, that's how it works. OP says, "I swear, if you..." Placebo, "Dude, do not shit yourself in the pool. Unless you want to use, like, a squid technique while swimming. Poof! Smoke screen!" OP says, "No! Just go fast! You'll make it! Trust me!" Yeah, and wipe it well if that's what you're doing. Thank you. Chlorine Beard went off and took his sweet time doing his business, so he just barely made it back in time to get on the block, and I was there on the other side of the pool because I told him that I would cheer and shout for him when he flips for the last 25. Don't go thinking that this beard is special. I did that for each of our first-time swimmers. He flipped, stopped, surfaced, and then just looked at me for a second. OP, "Chlorine Beard, I swear to whatever Lord and Savior you believe in, if you climb out on this end," I was shouting that at him. I then realized that no one else was still swimming because Chlorine Beard was in last place by 25 meters. The pool was quiet. Everyone had heard me. OP, "Go!" He started to swim to the other wall after that. The competition went well overall beside that hiccup, and my two littles didn't DQ, surprisingly, so no 400 for any of us. Overall, a good day. Yeah, we take those. So our coach decided to make us learn how to swim without goggles because a good chunk of our team had their goggles fall off, and they DQ'd them because they didn't know how to swim without seeing. I mean, you're basically moving in a straight line. You'll be fine. The only way we agreed to that term was if every Friday we got to play water polo without goggles. For those who haven't played water polo, it's war, especially if you're friends with the enemy. This time, the teammates were Placebo, Chlorine Beard, Nemo, and myself, and one other who was our goalie. David Flyer, Allergic, and two others were on the other team. So I'm set on defense with Nemo against Flyer and whoever else. Placebo and Chlorine Beard were the offense against David and Allergic. Allergic was on our right hand, and so of course Chlorine Beard chose to go there and stick close to her. Or, as he would say, he just got lucky with him choosing the right completely randomly. Okay, buddy. Chlorine Beard was all over Allergic for the first half of the match, and I asked her about this a while ago, and her direct quote was, I didn't want to go for the ball, because he would always reach a little bit lower than where the ball is, if you understand what I'm saying. He was always also, right behind me. I could smell the cat pee behind me, OP. God, must haunt your nightmares. I, of course, told him how to effectively play his offense role by saying that he should stay away from the other offense and open up the field a bit. I also threatened him, saying, if I catch you out of position the entire match next time, I'm drowning you. And the threat of drowning was a very common thing amongst all the team. I mean, it is effective. Nobody wants to be drowned, truly. Here's the highlights of the match. I got the ball. Allergic is trying to get it from me. Chlorine Beard was probably just enjoying reaching over Allergic, trying to steal the ball from me, even though I'm on his team. And I'm just doing my best to try and keep an open eye for whoever can actually get the ball. Yeah, no one. So I just chucked it over to Placebo, because why not? Chlorine Beard was now pressing Allergic onto me after I threw the ball. And now Allergic and I are moving away from the ball, when we should be pushing up towards it. But Chlorine Beard wants to keep pressing up against her. Dude, this is weird. I hate this. OP. Chlorine Beard, go! Push up! Chlorine Beard, but I have to cover Allergic. OP. Your job is to score! Chlorine Beard, but... OP. Go! I reached over Allergic and shoved Chlorine Beard away. I looked down at Allergic and saw what she did to me, trying to get away from Chlorine Beard. It looked like I was fighting 3 feral cats and lost. She, in her desperation in trying to escape Chlorine Beard, accidentally clawed my entire torso and some of my arms. If I could have felt that, well, this story would have gone a very different way. OP just says, hey, Allergic, you're playing pretty rough. I didn't think you had that in you. She says, oh my god, I was so sorry. Chlorine Beard was just pushing into me and I didn't want that, so I was just trying not to let it happen by having you cover me. OP, don't worry. Can't really complain. I'll be more relaxed about my defense with you so you can just move away from him without me having to act as a wall. Allergic, I'm so sorry. OP says, no, hey, it's okay. And the game went on for a while. And every time Chlorine Beard would get close to Allergic, I'd yell at him to make room for me to throw the ball to him. And then when we switched sides, teams got rearranged, and David was on my side of the pool. David and Flyer could push up real fast, so I told Chlorine Beard to run interference between them. David got the ball and threw it. It hit Chlorine Beard in the head and bounced off of him to Flyer, who took a shot at the goal. I took another ball to my head as well, and it got back to David, who had a look on him. Determination. That ball's going in the goal. Our goalie can't stop it. So I jump up to block it with my body, and I fell a bit short there and got a bit of a concussion from the power that he put into that thing. And the worst part of it was, it bounced off my head and then hit Chlorine Beard in the back of the head. We both got the pinball treatment for a solid half minute. Coaches called off the match because of the blunt force to both of our heads. You don't need your head to swim. In fact, if you could sharpen it up, bang the sides really hard and make a point, it's gonna make you even more water hydrodynamic, right? Anyway, all that is also how Chlorine Beard and I got the nickname Scott Sterling for a week. David and Flyer were losing it because it was hilarious. From their perspective, I came back from the depths of the pool to take that hit and then went back under once I fulfilled my duty. I did feel the pummeling that we took from David and Flyer, and David versus Goliath, me, was talked about every time we played for the next month or so. Oh, it's a biblical reference! There was also one other game that we would play, Sharks and Minnows. Oh, I like that! Where you can only tag people whose head is above the water. You can force someone to the surface to tag them, but yeah, you better be ready to wrestle with them. The last few people who were minnows were me, David, Chlorine Beard, and Placebo. The other 10-ish people were all sharks. David, Placebo, and myself have pretty good maneuverability in the water, so that's why we were there. People didn't want to touch Chlorine Beard, which, honestly, valid. And he somehow had enough oil on him to make, like, a coat, like a penguin. He was just really slippery for that reason, and yeah, nobody tried that hard to get him. One of the other male swimmers got him when he took a breath, and Flyer grabbed me like a fish. My arms were pinned, and I was doing dolphin kicks on my side, and I saw myself going up and backwards, but I kept on fighting until the new shark of Chlorine Beard walked up and put his crotch in my face while trying to help Flyer get me out. I surrendered because I didn't want beard balls in my face. Chlorine Beard didn't do much to pull me up. In fact, I could feel Flyer trying even less to pull me up. Yeah, that guy's on my team? Fuck, I don't want to be on that team anymore. Chlorine Beard. I told you I could help. Flyer. Dude, he ran out of air. Chlorine Beard. Then why was it only when I came over? OP. Flyer, why'd you keep holding on to me? Chlorine Beard. I helped. OP. Oh, hi Chlorine Beard. When did you get here? Chlorine Beard. Flyer. You came over when I got you out already. Chlorine Beard. Hey! OP. I needed to take a breath because, Jesus, I was fading out down there. Flyer just shot a look at Chlorine Beard that said, see? I drowned him. You didn't do anything. Flyer. You need help getting out? Chlorine Beard. OP. No, I'm good. I can make it. Yeah, please don't touch me. We just didn't let him get a word in because we both knew what he was trying to say and didn't want him to spout that BS. Then out of the corner of my eye, I spotted Nemo underwater and struggling. I shouted at the closest person to check on Nemo, and that was both Placebo and Allergic. Nemo was drowning. Luckily, Placebo got there in time while I got out of the pool to fully pull her out, and she was coughing. No water coming out, though, so that's good. And then she looked at me and said, oh, everything hurts. What do I do to stop that? I was about to say something, but before I could, Chlorine Beard, do you need mouth to mouth? Nemo shouted, no! Get the fuck away from me! OP, Chlorine Beard, back up and give them space. As I pointed, Coach and the lifeguard came over to check on her, and she was deemed not dying, so nothing terrible happened, just pretty close call. Yeah, water's dangerous. So, for those curious, she had both of her legs cramped and part of her diaphragm too. She didn't inhale any water, so luckily there was no physical damage, just, psychological. We did figure out what was causing the cramps, dehydration, so I made sure she drank the water she needed to avoid that from happening again. Damn, I've been dehydrated as shit, never had cramps like that. What you need is some electrolytes, potassium and whatnot. We got in the locker room, and I asked Chlorine Beard to stay once everyone else left, and he waited around. OP says, dude, I don't know how you think, but please, for everyone's sake, just leave Nemo alone, okay? Chlorine Beard. Why? But I like her. OP says, well, she doesn't feel that way about you. Chlorine Beard. Dude, I told you to stop saying that. You're OP. I'm gonna keep saying it until there's peace among the team. Chlorine Beard. But OP. No, there's no but. She used what little air she had left to scream at you. Chlorine Beard. Why does this always happen to me? OP. Whatever the cause of that is, find it and fix it. For your sake. Chlorine Beard. But what do I do? OP. One thing I know people love is personal space, so try and stay an arm's length away, at least. unless they get closer, and then that is their distance. Keep their distance, if you don't mind, and if they scoot away, don't get closer. It's just creepy. Chlorine Beard.
But I read that if a female smells male pheromones, then that'll make them fall in love.
Who told you? What is... Oh my god. It's just an excuse not to wash your balls! Everyone can tell! OP says, A, whoever read that hasn't seen a woman in decades, and B, women would much rather smell deodorant than your pheromones. Chlorine Beard.
But I don't have deodorant.
What the fuck? Get like a few bucks together. What's wrong with you? OP says, wait here. I rummaged through my bag to find a half-used Old Spice Swagger stick of deodorant, and then said, here, it's half-used, and please find your own scent. Swagger is mine. Oh, is this an Old Spice commercial? This whole thing's been like a deep-level psyop. I'm gonna send those fuckers a bill. Please pay the invoice. We're on net 30 terms. Thank you so much, Old Spice. Chlorine Beard says,
oh, thanks, how do I use it?
Dude, what the fuck is this? You gotta be his daddy or something? OP says, this threw me for a loop. It's a stick. You just roll it out a little and then apply it. So I showed him how and where to apply it and told him to do it himself. And he did. You gotta give him a treat afterwards. He's learning. For the next few days, he did use it. Then he switched to Axe body spray. Well, almost. The beard is taking efforts to shrink his stink. I can't believe it. He still has a long way to go before I could upgrade him from beardo to weirdo, but I guess it's another step in the right direction. He does take steps back, as you've just read, but eventually he did lose most of his beardy qualities. Thanks for the read, and this was one of the stories that Nemo reminded me of. She doesn't find interest in beard studies as we all do, so I can't get her to join me in my writings, but she's more than willing to complain to me about them. I mean, writing takes effort. So thank you for writing, OP. The waves of my life call my name like always, and I must answer, but I'll be back in about 2 days. Edit also OP's in the Discord. Drunk Ninja 35. I'll have to add you the collaborator role for writing this series. Indeed. I'm sort of saddened by how little Chlorine Beard knows about himself, life, just how he's supposed to exist. Somebody has failed him massively. And part of it's his fault, you know. OP's there when he reaches out and asks for help, so I guess that's the only reason that he even sort of made it out. You know, not to pat yourself on the back too hard, but do pat yourself on the back a little bit. It's still pretty clear to me that he is an abject weirdo, but I don't know, man. At least we're trying to do better things. How do you feel, Gubbinses?
Chlorine Beard treating basic hygiene like a mid-season character arc is wild. Half the saga is just, please sir, wear deodorant. Comedy gold, tragic whiff, Gubbins.
Like I said, it is funny, but it's also really fucking sad in a way.
A full-length odyssey of boundary violations and eau de feral tomcat. Yet the real villain is his belief that pheromones a love potion. Humanity remains doomed. Dark Gubbins.
I mean, it is a love potion essentially, but mostly for, you know, creatures without much of a frontal cortex. Anyway, we'll get into another part. I think we've been doing 2 per part, so we'll continue on into part number 6 right now. And if you enjoy this content, do check us out on Spotify, iTunes, Patreon, and YouTube memberships. Thanks so much. This is Chlorine Beard, part number 6, Yesterday's Sharknado. It's like a Sharknado, but worse? Better? It's bad. Dear ReddX Industries, my stories on Chlorine Beard have been 2 years old, and the last one of my installments would be about 8 months ago. Today, however, I have a treat. I still swim at the same pool, because it's technically owned by a gym and the school, so coach still wants me to show up and teach other swimmers who are new. I'm apparently an assistant coach now, and today's story is only 1 day old. I mean, a year ago it was, but that's exciting still. We've got OP, Distance, who is different from OP, 5'4" swimmer, had the misfortune of replacing me in most of my events for the swim year. He's very blunt if he's faster than you. However, if you're faster, he'll respect you. There's also the disabler of nostrils, Chlorine Beard. So Distance joined the team because I kept telling him to for an entire year, for he has about 10 years of experience, so he's as good as me, if not better. He attends the morning practice and the afternoon practice, while I only do the afternoon. Chlorine Beard only does the morning practice about once a week, from what I hear. With cast and context out of the way, we'll dive in. Distance showed up to a practice, and when he was getting changed in the shower stall for privacy, he smelled the chosen of the poop god, as he says. Chlorine Beard tried to open his shower curtain. I accidentally started a pattern where if you're changing in the shower, you make noise nearly constantly, which could be noise of any sort, typing, just moving a tad loudly, so people know that you're in there. Yeah, I would whistle. Chlorine Beard, I guess, just didn't care or didn't hear and tried to open the curtain either way. Distance grabbed it to keep it closed. Distance, nude. Hey! Occupied! Chlorine Beard. Oh, it's you. Distance. What? Chlorine Beard. Yeah, don't worry about it. Distance. No, dude. You tried to walk in on me. Fuck! I could be nude in here for all you know. Chlorine Beard. Are you? Nutty of beeswax. From what Distance told me, Chlorine Beard's tone was predatory. He said that he could tell that Chlorine Beard was getting closer to his stall while asking that. Yes, I'm naked, but I got a big knife, too! He quickly got dressed and got out on deck, telling Coach about the violation of the locker room. Coach did tell Chlorine Beard off, but I gotta be honest, it probably won't go anywhere. Distance got into the pool and started doing his thing. When he was taking a breath, he smelled something. My prediction of Chlorine Beard's full power aura being strong enough to beat a full pool was an understatement. The pool lost in a crushing defeat. In the next lane, there was Chlorine Beard flooding the lanes with that odor. It somehow got worse than the previous 2 years combined. Oh yeah, he's been building up his power, This is pure and concentrated now. When he told me that, I lost it. I was laughing like a madman for a few minutes because my slight exaggeration was really a prophecy. Then he said something that made me stop the story that I was writing about and shift to today's tale. Distance said, OP, he closed down the fucking pool. As he went on about how he was doing a hard set, the lifeguard went over to him and said, Hey, we need you to get out of the pool. The lifeguard went on to say that somebody in the pool had an accident. No! When Distance got out, he saw what he described as, quote, a disgusting cloud of, I don't even know, death? Yeah, I'm sure it's just black algae. Stinky algae. I tried to get more details out of him, but there was trauma in his eyes. He didn't want to remember what he had seen, so I can't even fully describe it. The worst part is, in the locker room, Chlorine Beard was changing and said to Distance, I can't believe they let babies in that pool. They don't need to swim, and they have poor body control just like OP. He blamed a baby for the poop-nado he had caused. And then had the audacity to diss me when the last time we even saw each other was months ago. Yeah, still inflating your own ego after shitting in a pool. Just really paints a picture, don't you know? Distance says, I asked the gym when the pool would reopen, and they're gonna flush it all out and refill it, so it's gonna be a while. Yes, a long while indeed. Dear reader, he had desecrated the pool to the point where it was closed for possibly a business week, and he blamed all of that on a random baby. Just no accountability whatsoever. We know you did it. How does a baby possibly shit that much? I personally thought that he'd just leave it after that, but no. He tried to convince Distance that a small, random baby was able to create a fog of fecal matter the size of a few fully grown men. It is a shorter story today, but I hope it meets the standards that I've set for myself. Honestly, this is probably my favorite one so far. Any story with poop just shoots to the top of the list. Thank you for the read. And I would say the waves of life are calling to me, but the pool's pretty dead right now, so I guess that I gotta find a new thing to do. I'm thinking about running, but it's not the same. I'll catch y'all next time. I mean, what is running really except for land swimming, right? Both of those sound miserable to me. Not huge on the cardio, but I know that it's good for you, and I'm glad you're keeping your heart strong and healthy, OP. I hope it's all going swimmingly for you, even a year after the fact, you know?
He weaponized his colon, evacuated an entire pool, and still had the gall to drop a drive-by insult. That's not a Sharknado. That's a soul leak. Dark Gubbins.
Soul leak is pretty deep. I like how esoteric we get with these sometimes. Tell me how you feel about it, boy.
He launched a tactical brownout and framed an infant like it was a covert op. This pool has been instantly transformed into a war crime scene. Gubbins.
I mean, it could have been worse, okay? Nobody died. I don't know what you want from me, honestly. But that's about what we have time for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Always remember that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it. And I shall see you in the next one. Also, subscribe to my Patreon. Okay, thanks, bye.